Welcome to the show, everyone, where we'll be taking a deep dive into the iconic 5th generation Mustang. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another Mustang video? Haven't we seen it all? But trust me on this one, you'll want to see this. Hit the like and subscribe button. We're going on a journey through its evolution from 2005 to 2014, a period where Ford, bless their cotton socks, actually decided to inject some life back into this old horse. Now, I've always had a soft spot for the Mustang. It's a proper bit of American muscle, a car that embodies the spirit of the open road. And this 5th generation, well, let's just say it's something special. It's the generation that reminded the world why the Mustang is an icon, why it makes grown men weak at the knees and sends shivers down your spine. So buckle up, grab a cuppa, and get ready for a wild ride as we delve into the history, the power, and the sheer brilliance of the 5th generation Mustang. Picture this, 2005, a year when skinny jeans were tragically in fashion and flip phones were top-of-the-line tech. In this bleak landscape, Ford decided to inject some much-needed excitement into the world. The 5th generation Mustang. And let me tell you, it was a sight for sore eyes. Gone were the bloated, forgettable lines of the previous generation. This Mustang, it harkened back to the glory days. The golden age of muscle cars. It was a love letter to the 1960s, a time when cars were, cars. This wasn't just some cheap knockoff though. Ford, in their infinite wisdom, decided to give the people what they wanted, a modern car with a soul, a heart, a throbbing V8 engine. Well, more on that later. They took the classic Mustang design cues, that long hood, the aggressive stance, the shark bite grille, and somehow, miraculously, made them even better. It was retro, sure, but it was retro done right. It was like finding your dad's old leather jacket and realizing, bloody hell, this is actually quite cool. Now, you can't have a proper Mustang without some serious grunt under the hood, can you? This is a car that's meant to be driven, and by driven, I mean driven like you stole it. And Ford didn't disappoint. They offered a couple of engine choices because choice is good, even if one of them is a bit, well, pedestrian. You could get yourself a 4.0-liter V6. Perfectly adequate for popping to the shops, picking up the kids from school, that sort of thing. But let's be honest, you didn't come here for adequate, did you? You came for the V8. In 2006, Ford unleashed the Mustang GT, and this, my friends, is where the fun really began. Under that sculpted hood lurked a beastly 4.6-liter V8, just begging to be unleashed. This wasn't just a car, it was a statement. It was a middle finger to the sensible, the economical, the boring. It was a car that said, yeah, I care about the environment, but I also care about going really, really fast. And with a throaty roar that could wake the dead, the Mustang GT announced its return in style. Now 2010 was a good year. Not just because I finally convinced the BBC to let me drive a combine harvester through a supermarket, don't ask, but because Ford decided to pay homage to a legend. The Mustang boss was back, baby. This wasn't just some marketing ploy, oh no. Ford dug deep into the Mustang's DNA and pulled out a car that was worthy of the boss name. It was more powerful, more agile, more hardcore than the standard Mustang GT. 2011. A year that will live long in the memory. Why? Because Ford, in their infinite wisdom, decided to create a monster. The Mustang GT 500. This wasn't just a car, it was a force of nature. Under the hood, a supercharged 5.4-liter V8 engine pumped out an astonishing amount of horsepower. We're talking numbers that would make your granny say, ooh la la. This thing was faster than a cheetah on a sugar rush, and it sounded like the apocalypse was coming to a town near you. But Ford wasn't done yet. Oh no, they had more tricks up their sleeve. In 2012, they decided to resurrect another icon, the Mustang Boss 302. This was a car designed for the track, a purebred racing machine that just happened to be street legal. It was lighter, faster, and more agile than the standard Boss, with a specially tuned engine that screamed like a banshee on fire. This was a car for serious drivers, the kind of people who know the difference between oversteer and understeer, and frankly, don't care as long as they're going sideways. Now I know what you're thinking, it can't get any better than this, can it? Well, my friends, you'd be wrong, because in 2013 Ford unleashed the Shelby GT 500. This wasn't just a car, it was a statement. It was the culmination of everything Ford had learned about building fast, powerful, and downright mental Mustangs. With a supercharged 5.8-liter V8 engine that produced a mind-boggling amount of horsepower, this thing was in a league of its own. It was the kind of car that could give a Bugatti a run for its money, and it sounded like the devil himself was gargling with gravel. All good things must come to an end, as they say. And in 2014, the fifth generation Mustang rode off into the sunset. But what a sunset it was. This generation, it wasn't just about power, it was about heritage, about passion, about building a car that made people feel something. It was a reminder that even in a world of hybrid cars and electric vehicles, there's still a place for a good old-fashioned V8. So there you have it, the fifth generation Mustang. A car that rewrote the rulebook, that reminded the world what a proper muscle car should be. It was fast, it was loud, and it was unapologetically cool. It was a car that made you want to grab life by the horns and give it a good hard shake. It was a car that made you feel alive, and that, my friends, is what makes it a true icon. Well, there you have it, the fifth generation Mustang. A proper return to form for the iconic pony car, and a reminder that sometimes the old ways are the best. Ford took a gamble with this one, harking back to the good old days of muscle car mayhem, and damn it if they didn't pull it off. From the base V6 all the way up to the monstrous Shelby GT 500, these cars were all about power, performance, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned fun. They were cars that made you feel something, that made you want to get behind the wheel and just drive. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the fifth generation Mustang. Stay tuned for more automotive history and insights.